All right, so now you've got logged into version 10 of Service Intelligence, and you want to find customers' vehicles to see their reports. When you log in, by default, you are brought to the Vehicles section. This replaces the Point of Sale section that was in version 9. It's now called Vehicles. And here's where you get to see a list of all the vehicles in your database, including any open work in progress. What you can do in the search field is you can type any name of any customer that you'd like to find the vehicle for. You can click on that customer and pull up the vehicle that comes up for them on this section here. So again, this is where you search for vehicles, type in your names, license plate numbers, and all that jazz. Here you have the number in gray beside. This is how many vehicles this customer has. Only 2 are showing up for some reason, maybe a filter I have in. And this crown represents, I believe that it's 3 service visits in the last 12 months. And the no symbol would indicate that the customer has been opted out of marketing on all the vehicles in this case. But in some cases, it may just be one vehicle. So once you have found the customer's vehicle and you clicked on it, works much like version 9. The tabs will be opened up here of the different vehicles, and you can click on the different tabs to see the vehicles and what is going on. All right, now I'm going to give you a quick tour of some of this functionality and how this works. While it is very similar to version 9, there are some differences, and I'm going to go over those with you on this. So starting at the top left of this area here, you see these 3 marketing icons. These are to opt out the vehicle of marketing. This one via email, this one is for postcards, this one is for text message. So if we want to opt out any one of these individual pieces from this vehicle, let's say we want to opt out the text message, and it's just for this vehicle, we would hit confirm. If it's for all vehicles that the customer owns, we would check that and then we'd click confirm. And you'll see here there's now a no symbol on this vehicle for this customer. I'm going to just opt that back in, and then you'll see it disappears. So this is to opt your customers out of marketing when you're talking with them at the front counter or maybe on the phone, and they can say, you know what, I really don't like those postcards you send me. Great, you can opt them out individually here, which is fantastic. Moving across these icons here, I want to go over these in a bit, actually, and I'm going to start with this More tab first. This gives you more great information in regards to this customer or vehicle that we're looking at. So looking at Ken Hare, we can see contact details, email address, phone numbers, and such. And we can see as a customer some information about him, as in the last service was worth $41.21, possibly just an oil change or something. The average repair order, you're going to have to probably excuse these numbers because this is a test database, so there's definitely some things screwed up here. But it says the average repair order is 31,000, which we know is not correct. Sales in the last 12 months, $375, and total sales, 31,000. And then if we open up the vehicle information, we get to see the odometer of the vehicle, the estimated odometer of the vehicle, I should say. And where that is at, that's based on the 12 miles per day that he drives and the last invoice date that he came in. And we do the math to calculate what that is. It predicts the next appointment date based on those 12 miles per day and the oil change the customer has, what that interval is, pre-calculates that for you. You'll see some numbers down here in the yellow. These are the vehicle-specific numbers, as with the numbers above are customer-specific. And so that just gives you, again, some additional information. Again, this is a test database. Some of the values and numbers have been scrambled so that these are anonymous, so it's not real data. Vehicle objective, this is completely internal for you to use to rate the objective of the vehicle to the customer. Do they love this vehicle? Do they buy all the maintenance you sell? Do they not care about the vehicle so much? Rated a 1 instead of a 3. It doesn't change anything, doesn't change any marketing, doesn't change any calculations. It is just there for your own personal use. That's the same with the driving conditions of the vehicle. Does Ken here take his 328 drag racing on the streets and bag on it, or does he tow it? Whatever the case may be, you can click on it once and you can change it to severe duty. Again, this is just strictly an internal use for you to utilize as needed. Starting at these icons now to give you some ideas of what's going on here. This is to change the report view. So you click on it and you can choose between any one of these three reports here that are the defaults from version 9, and records is the new default from version 10 that you are seeing on the screen. So if I change it to summary, we are going to see the summary report, which you are familiar with. If we change it to detailed, you're going to see the full detailed report, and so on. I'm going to go back to records report because that is our default report in version 10 now, and I'll explain that in a little bit as to how that works and what that's all about. Sending a text message. If you want to send a text message to your customer by looking at the reports, you can see we're pulling in all the different phone numbers. You can pick the right number it should go to. Here is the templates that we have pre-built for you. So you can come in and pick the car is ready template, and you'll see we're pulling it in, including some hashtags like customer's first name, model of their vehicle, creator name is you because you're creating the text message, shop name, phone number. So all the stuff is in here, and we simply hit send to send that text message. All right, so the text center here, when you have sent a text message, it's going to give you a notification if the customer replies, and that will be in the top right corner of the website here. And you have to close those out to get out of your way, so they're constantly in your way to remind you that you have a new text message, which is great. You'll also get a little notification, a red dot over one of the vehicles if there's a text reply waiting for that, as well as in the texting center here on the left side, there's going to be a red dot over that with a number over it indicating the amount of text replies that you have to respond to. So that is important. I'll go over the text center shortly. This button here is to print the reports. You simply click the print button, pick the report that you want to print and hit print, and then it's going to use your browser's default settings, and you will find your printer, hit print, and the report is printed. This icon here is to email the reports to your customer. You'll see that it automatically pulls in the email for the customer. And you can also type in and add another email if you like in this section to send it to more than one person. You also have all these great templates as well, just like the texting center. And again, you can manage them, you can edit them to say them exactly what you want, or you can create brand new templates as well. You can also just type in whatever message you want to say to your customer. Use the emoticons here, whatever you want to call them. You can add those within your messages as well. That's same with the text messages. And then again, we do have the keyword selector here to pick a data keyword to bring in. You can use the keyword feature here. This pulls in any key phrases or keywords that we have on our database. So if you want to say the customer's first name in the email or their spouse's name that you have as a field there, or you want to attach the progress report to the email, add a link to it in there, you can use all that in there as well, which is a great tool to have. And then you can pick which report it is that you want to email the customer. So you select the report, save as a link, and then you would hit save, or there should be a send button down here that you see. I don't see this because it is a test database. But so that's how you would email any of this information to your customer. This is not an email client program. We send the email, and when the customer replies to it, it goes to your email in your email program. This here is to print the lube stickers with this, and you can choose between landscape or portrait, and also which oil change it is for, and it will use the interval of that oil change and the miles per day to calculate what day that customer should come back into the shop. Of course, you can adjust it from our calculations, but it's there for you to use, as well as add any additional information you want on that sticker. Just hit print, and then it will go through and find your Dymo printer or Zebra printer, whatever you're using. This button here is to schedule the next appointment. So again, it is using the system. It will Assume that the oil change is done today. It'll use the oil change interval of what they have been using, the miles per day that they drive, to help, again, calculate the next day of that appointment, just like the sticker. This only works for some management systems, but what this does is it does push this into the calendar of the management system, so that it ends up in there. You can type any comments that you want, or any service notes that you want. Again, on some management systems, we will actually pull in any recommended or declined work notes that you have, and we'll pre-populate them in here for you so you can see them. You can then edit whatever you think needs to be in there, include it onto the appointment, and hit save, and that will get that pushed into that schedule for you. The Add a Record tool, this is to add any service records that were done not at your shop. Right, so if you're looking at, say, Carfax for a new customer, you could pick up all the stuff from Carfax and you can add the service record. So you can see that the battery was replaced 3 or 4 months ago, say, or whatever. You select the date in which you see that battery was replaced. You can say performed elsewhere, and you can type in here Carfax because that's where you got it from, and you hit save. What that is going to do is going to add that to the calculations, right? And put it in the red or the blue to say, well, it's not due yet, it's not due for another 3 years, or it is still past due because it still has passed the interval. So you can utilize that. The Add a Recommendation tool, this is future-based, right? So you would say that you've tested the battery, looks strong, but you see the battery is 3 years old. You may want to add an odometer or a date into the future as to when that battery should be replaced, and then hit save. And again, it will throw it in there and age it as a part of that process. So that is the Add a Record tool. Most of what I've said here, there's been some slight upgrades to version 10, but for the most part, these functions were here in version 9. They're just up in these icons now. Adding a comment, this is brand new. So you can leave a comment on any vehicle that you want, and it shows up at the bottom of every report. Doesn't matter which report you're looking at. If I go to the summary report, the section is down below here, and these are the notes on this vehicle. You can use this as a way of conversation between your employees. This could be just a part of you. You've gathered some important information for the future of this vehicle. You want to leave it here for this vehicle. You can type it in here and use it for that. Activity shows us the activity of this vehicle, what's been going on. Well, I added the comment test. I printed the summary report. I marked the vehicle, opted in and opted out. So this gives you a history of all your users. So all your staff need their own logins so that we can see who's been doing what with these vehicles and these reports. And SMS would be the text message history of this vehicle. So it's not the place you go to answer text, but this is where you can see the full conversation to the latest point of this vehicle, of the text messages that have been happening. So that's kind of our quick overview here of the point of sale use. I'm not getting into any of the theories or how you use the program, or just to explain to you where the buttons are on that. The texting center, so as I said, if you get new texts coming in, you will want to respond to them in the texting center. And when you're in here, you'll be able to see vehicles under certain days that have conversations going on. And so if I click on here, you'll see conversations going out. This is just one-way marketing. Again, this is a test database. Look at that, got a little error. That just happens to me sometimes because I am a master login, and every once in a while I get booted out when the cookies get confused. So you can see the different conversations going on here. And what is interesting about this is that you can see here, it looks like 5 days ago we sent this customer 4 text messages. That might be concerning because you're like, wow, that's a lot of text messages. So I do want to explain to you, it could be that this is a test database and we're sending out some tests, but also what happens and what can happen is a customer has multiple phone numbers under your management system. And the problem is we don't necessarily know which one is the landlines and which ones are the cell phones. And the problem is some shops, they enter the cell phones into the main phone number field. Right, so there's a room for mess there. What we do is for the first text message that goes out to your customers, the first one only, we will send it to all numbers. And what's going to happen is we're going to get an alert that says, hey, these two first numbers, these are landlines. We cannot text those, and our system will stop, and then it will only continue to send to these two numbers. So this way, you know that we are texting your cell numbers of your customers. It's pretty much like the other systems there. Someone texts and they respond. You can type in here whatever you want and hit send and continue your conversation with them. Again, we have multiple templates in here. Grab them, hit send. It will go to that customer, much like the rest of the fields that we have for you. So that kind of rounds up our as quick as I could be, instructions on how to use the point of sale. I'm trying to keep this short and fast. That is how you utilize the system. If you have any questions, I do love you to reach out to us, schedule another training if you need it, or whatever. We're happy to support you. You can reach out to us by clicking the Need Help button and then clicking on the live chat, and you can send us a start a support chat with us, and we will try and answer those as much as we can. If we are unavailable and can't answer, it will create a support ticket for us, and we will respond to you just as fast as we can. So with that, you have a fantastic day.